All right, so here is you know, this might be the JV wins explodes topic. Every week there's a JV wins explode. Every week there's a JV wins explodes topic. This might be this week's JV wins explodes topic. All right, so apparently there's this thing going around on the internet and social media, TikTok in particular, in which we are attempting to debunk the quality of basketball played during the 90s. So this thing that's trending all over the internet right now is called "We Done with the 90s," and basically the point of it is, let's bring up old tape of games from the late 80s and the 90s. Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson. Let's bring up old tapes of these people and watch how their skills were suspect, so that we can debunk this myth that was the golden era of basketball.
My goodness.
I personally think that this is a shadow. Never mind.
Yeah.
I'll save that for my. I'll save that for my.
Like,
I'll save that for my thoughts on this. But first we'll go ahead and we'll go ahead and sort of first we'll just kind of talk about this real quick, and we'll cite this article here. So this says, why is "We Done with the 90s" trending? NBA fans claiming deception about Michael Jordan's era explored. Over the past few days, NBA fans have broken out into a massive discourse regarding history. This had led to "We Done with the 90s" trending across multiple social media platforms. In most debates, it is often brought up how different and physical the game was in previous decades compared to today. However, footage has come about that has fans ready to discard the 90s for the modern era. It all began when a fan posted a clip on TikTok of footage between Michael Jordan and Magic Johnson battling it out in the NBA Finals. The video picks apart some foolish plays and shot choices, saying it doesn't live up to the hype older fans speak about. So I might have to open up a new tab to
mhm.
share this one. So first, let me see if this will play, and then if not, I'll just open up another tab. I'm gonna open up another tab.
Yeah,
So I'm
I
gonna
can.
stop sharing the article real quick, and then what we're gonna do is we are going to play the first of a couple of clips of people trying to discredit 90s basketball and using Michael Jordan and Magic Johnson, no less, of all of the people that they could have used as a case study for why 90s basketball was overrated. They chose Magic and Jordan. But let me see here. There we go.
So
All right, so
disrespectful.
I don't even know who this guy is, but this is one of these types of videos that is currently trending, that fostered the "We Done with the 90s" movement, if you will.
Movement.
All right, let's see here.
We're gonna have to get you a graphic, bruh.
because I just
Um.
old NBA
Okay.
Finals games between Michael Jordan and Magic Johnson, and reports were exaggerated. This is the 91 NBA Finals, and for being the best player in the world, Michael Jordan is left wide open. This is James Worthy, one of the all time great bigs with Jordan Poole level shot chucking. Scottie Pippen out in transition. I mean, what is he doing, man? You might think this is a JaVale McGee shacked in a fool clip, but no, it's Scottie Pippen. This is levels of coordination I didn't think were possible at the NBA level. I mean, come on, man. That is Magic Johnson just completely unaware. Scottie Pippen just plummeting his teammate grade. I don't think I've ever seen a shot like that in my life.
Wow, bro.
Scottie Pippen hate video, but there's just no defense at the perimeter, and then he just dribbles it into traffic and loses the ball. I promise this is not the defensive era that your parents or grandparents told you that it is, because it's the best player in the world with no defender within 3 feet of him. This is probably the most egregious clip yet. Yeah, that's Michael Jordan with the ball. Oops. What is 14 doing? Where is he looking? Like, Jordan goes to the right here, and the defense literally goes the other way. This would be playing on not top 10 for probably a month if this happened in today's era. in passing off your teammate's face. I've never really watched Magic Johnson other than the highlights, but I really didn't know that he just didn't have a left hand. And for all the like great defense in this era, these dudes are just tackling each other. I'm not completely dismissing some of these clips. I mean, Scottie Pippen made his fair share of great plays. I mean, this is infuriating watching, the best player with just no defender even close to him. And every single clip I showed you was from a 12-minute span in game 1 of the 91 finals. This is when the lights are supposed to be the brightest in competition, the strongest, and I simply didn't see it. I wasn't alive then. I didn't see it in real time, but you can no longer lie to our faces. YouTube is available. There were some really great players, but it was a really different time. And yeah, you could probably find some lowlights in today's NBA, but NBA Finals, no one within 5 feet of Michael Jordan, no one contesting him. Mythology just isn't holding up.
Wow,
right,
bro.
Wow. Yeah. So there's that from that guy, right? You know, but wait, there's more. So let me bring up the first article as we continue here. So there's that piece. As this video went viral, it led to countless debates and fans firing off absurd takes. It also resulted in "We Done with the 90s" being a trending topic for days. One of the other discourses that has come about of this "We Done with the 90s" trend is Michael Jordan's skill set. Some have put together compilation videos with the idea of him not being able to use his left hand. I'm not gonna. Is this the one that I wanted to show? I think this is it. Yeah. So I'm also gonna play this one. Yeah. It was this one. Okay. So let me. I'm gonna open this up so that we can play this one too. So I'm gonna stop this one, and we're gonna go here. We're gonna play this fella here, who also thinks that we done with the 90s, right? So here's another one.
We done with the 90s. Somebody gonna explain this to me. Here go your goat pushing it. Why won't he use his left hand? He just jumped in the air and came down with it. That's garbage. You travel. Don't get mad at the ref. You travel. Hollering and screaming at the ref when you just jumped up in the air and refused to use your left hand. You gonna try to get mad at the ref. I can't stand when they do that. Look at the ref got to do with that, Mike. Look at this. This is garbage. Use the left hand. That's trash. That's a good call. Sit down. We done with the 90s. Let them tell it. Magic Johnson. He the best point guard ever. He was garbage.
Come on, bro.
No moves. Big trash. Look at this big trash move he do. That's trash. Magic don't even do a move. Garbage. He ain't got no moves. He just gonna go in there. Look, that's garbage. We done with the 90s. I would have locked Jordan up because in my head, I already know he going to the right. I would have blocked that. It's like it ain't no clips where he turned that other way. He always gonna turn to the right. He never turns to the left. Jordan ain't got no left. Watch him fake right, go left, lose the ball. Look at that.
Wow,
Okay.
man.
So there's that. I guess I'll continue to read for a little bit, but just for a little bit more. These clips have led to him being compared to an all-star in today's generation. Fans have drawn connections to Boston Celtics star Jaylen Brown, who has constantly been put on blast for his lack of left hand. Fans have also created Jordan comparisons for another current player, that being Ben Simmons. Footage surface of defenses backing way off him at the three-point line, daring him to shoot. This is a tactic opponents pulled out a lot on Simmons during his time with the Philadelphia 76ers. Defenses did this so that Jordan couldn't blow by them and get to the rim. However, the Chicago Bulls legend was not the strongest of outside shooters during his career. Jordan shot 32.7% from beyond the arc. So that's, some evidence for the analytically inclined folks out there. While fans were posting their crazy takes and discourses on Twitter and TikTok, one NBA player decided to get in the mix. Jamal Murray simply posted a GIF to his Twitter, but it's clear what side of the fence he is on. The GIF is of Michael Jordan, but he has a confused look on his face, indicating that the Denver Nuggets star is baffled by the discourse that has gone on in recent days. Murray, 27, was born at the end of the 1990s. Even though Jordan's reign had come and gone by the time he was a youth, it's clear he has no plans of discrediting one of the greatest ever. All right.
Wow.
Yeah. I'll give you the floor. Do you buy this? Do you buy this idea that we need to be done with the 90s? That the 90s was overrated? That it was trash? That these guys weren't actually good? Michael Jordan, the greatest player ever, couldn't go left. Always shot over his right shoulder. Defenses were overrated. It wasn't actually defense. It was tackling people. What was some of the stuff that these people said? Because I took notes on this. Jordan missing open jump shots, people backing off of him. Jordan missing layups, all of that good stuff as evidence that the 90s are trash. Do you agree with this?
Absolutely not. All right. Honestly, bro, me running across some videos about this where some people are apparently serious, which is the concerning part. But people going through these clips saying the most blasphemous statements. I mean, honestly, bro. So let me set the stage. So I started watching actively basketball, like for real, in like 95. Been watching it since probably like 91, 92. But like for real, like I'm in the trenches like every night with the family, like we watching every game. Yeah, 95. So I missed a lot. I didn't see who was that? Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I didn't see him in his heyday. I didn't see none of that stuff. My dad was like, man, Kareem, boy, Magic, when he first got in the league, man, you couldn't tell me nothing. Oh boy, he just naming these people. At the time, 95, 96, 97, especially up in that range, I'm an Iverson fan. And, at that point, I'm loving the fact that he shook Jordan. I'm like, we the new wave. That's why I'm at that age. I'm like, all right, yeah, whatever, whoop. I forgot what year that was. Must have been like 99, 2000. But the ESPN used to show all the late games, all the games from the finals in the 80s and all that other stuff. And whenever I got home from school, I'll sit down and I'll watch it. I can clearly tell the difference in athleticism, certain skill sets. However, I was also cognizant enough to understand that things were relative due to its time.
Yeah.
And when I was watching this guy's athleticism, the top guy, versus this guy's athleticism, the other top guy on the other team, it was a brawl. It was showtime. It was awesome. And the level of competition back then was honestly in the 80s, 90s at its highest. I think it was higher in the 80s than it was in the 90s, to be honest. So whenever I did my homework, I paid homage. I was grateful for the stuff. When I caught guys at the tail end of their career, I didn't see Barkley when he first hit the thing. I ain't see Derek Coleman when he was coming out of Syracuse, and I missed all of this. But I'm seeing these guys later part in their career, and I'm like, oh, wow. I mean, wow, I didn't know. And then whenever I did my research, I was like, hey, this guy was hooping. Long story short, if somebody took the time to look back at old film, there does have to be an adjustment nobody's disputing the fact that there's newer moves, newer things out there. They're gliding different, they're moving different. Like, I get it, all right? People ain't doing the electric slide no more. They doing some other wonky stuff. Like, dance moves have changed over time, all right? But you're not gonna sit here and take the electric slide out of a family function. I know you ain't doing that. So at that time, it served its purpose, and it was so dynamic, it was so transcendent that it still holds its own. I have yet to see the person in this generation who is so transcendent amongst his own peers. Y'all all doing the same thing. Dribble, dribble, step back, drip, drip, dribble out. Dribble, dribble, step back, drip, drip, dribble out. Travel, travel. Oh, gather. Now we're gathering now. All this extra stuff that we're doing in the game, they're all doing it. All right, no shade, but Jason Tatum's a perfect prime example. He's supposed to be the face of the league, according to a lot of people, you know, coming up, the new wave. Dribble, dribble, step back, three. You know what I'm saying? Oh, yeah, I got that Mamba mentality. I got, you know, I knew Kobe. Yeah, it's like, nah, bro, we saw that. We saw that mentality from a lot of people in the 80s and 90s. And then slowly but surely, those people became dinosaurs. Once, honestly, if there's a correlation to be drawn, once the bag started getting bigger and it just became popularized. Last thing I'll say, it's kind of like those things where first generational parents, they moved to the country, they busted their ass and they worked it hard. But then once they have their kids, you know, the second generation, third generations, whatever, and once they become Americanized, once they see what this whole corporate entity is, they want to just leech off it, take advantage, and not put in all that hard work their parents did. It's no different than what was going on in the league, honestly. So in the league, those people was putting in work. They were trying to make millions of dollars. They was trying to get there. Now, this new wave, they're so entitled. It's like the, you know, player empowerment. I don't have no problem with that, but what they done turned it into is a travesty. So they're like the same thing where it's like, man, if you look at your grandfather was putting in work. You know, what you around here doing, you know, living like you a damn Kardashian. So these guys are more concerned with fashion week than hooping. And that's why that's why I don't look like that competition's there. There's still dogs in the NBA. There are, but it's not as many as it used to be. So what are your thoughts, bro? I can go on for hours about these clowns. But how do you feel about these guys trending with the 90s stuff? Do you agree with this?
I don't like it, and the reason why I don't like it is for two primary reasons. First, I'm going to start with the tactic of finding single clips. You know, so if I wanted to, I could make any point in the world that I wanted to make on any topic, not just sports, by finding specific clips that reinforce my point. They don't paint an entire picture. So you want to use clips showing Michael Jordan missing open jump shots. How many clips can I pull of today's players missing wide open jump shots? If you extrapolate it to the percentage of shots taken today, because they take so many more jump shots now than they did in the past, those percentages are actually going to be worse than in previous eras because you're taking so many more shots. So my thing is, if we want to use missed open jump shots as a way to cite how that era was overrated, then I could in turn find dozens upon dozens upon dozens of clips of premier players today missing open jump shots. I mean, for God's sakes, some of y'all think he's the GOAT. I don't, but y'all, you know, I guess today's GOAT, LeBron, there have been multiple points throughout his career where he was in such a horrible slump as a jump shooter, people backed off of him and let him shoot open, and he would miss it all the time. Yeah. Now, if I wanted to use that as evidence that LeBron is overrated or that we're done with LeBron, I could do that based upon this strategy of picking out random clips. So I just don't like stuff like that because it doesn't tell the whole story. It's an amalgamation of various observations that you want to pay attention to. It's not just missed open jump shots or missed layups. Like, everybody misses layups. You got guys in the NBA today airballing free throws. I watched a game with Rudy Gobert in which he airballed a free throw. Now, granted, Rudy Gobert is not a great Rudy Gobert is not a good free throw shooter. But if the game today is so much exponentially better than before, then even guys who are paid as much money as him should be good enough to not airball free throws. So why am I seeing people airball free throws, miss layups, miss dunks, and miss open jumpers today if the game is so much better? If we're done with the 90s because this era of basketball is better, no one should be airballing free throws, missing layups, missing dunks. Hell, for that matter, if you're wide open, nobody should be missing jump shots. But clearly we see everybody misses jump shots because all you're doing is taking threes or dunks. So my whole thing is I'm not even going to trash the way that the game is played today because I still follow the NBA. I still love the NBA. I still watch the NBA. So far be it for me to say that the NBA today is not good or is somehow objectively worse than in the 90s. Whatever. It's based on perspective. It's like the music conversation we just got finished having. If you want to say that today's era of basketball is better because of specialized skill, fine. If you want to say the 90s is better because, I would say in the 90s, the advent of players coming into the league who are more league ready compared to the way things are going now contributed to there being a greater abundance of teams who could compete to win championships based on the roster. Whereas today, pretty much now, I would say today, even still, things are pretty much top heavy. I know that you got a lot of teams in the West who have good records like Minnesota and OKC. Those teams, to me, in my opinion, have zero chances to win a championship despite what their record suggests. Because they lack some of the fundamental components that go into whether you have a realistic chance to win. Furthermore, rarely do you ever see a team go from being 7-8 seed or out of the playoffs to legitimately contending. You don't make that kind of a leap in 1 year. So even though you got a lot of teams in the West who have great records, I still say there's really only like 2 or 3 teams that legitimately can contend. So this idea that everybody's so much better now and teams are so much better and players are so much better, and I said this before and I'll say it again, this is literally about shooting. That's all this is. Like whenever you want to have these cross-generational debates and you have people who want to make the case that basketball today is better than it was in the past, all they're really doing is using jump shooting as their barometer for why basketball is better today. It's all about three-point shooting. To these people who advocate on behalf of the modern NBA, even though they may not say it, if you really sort of dissect the points that they're making, what they're getting at is basketball is better today because there's more people who can shoot threes better. That's why they think it's better, because of shooting, because of jump shooting. And I would disagree because I think that there's more that goes into being a holistic basketball player than being proficient at shooting threes. Mm-hmm. But that's what this is about. And so I don't like this misleading redirect form of trying to make these cases, because really what this is about is we believe that the NBA is better now because more people can shoot threes better. But to me, I think that there is the chance that it can lead to a diminished product on the court, because what we're seeing in these games is I'm shooting 30% or 20% from three this game, but all I do is shoot threes. So I'm just going to keep jacking up these threes and bricking. Now, you think that that's a better product than guys going to the basket and getting fouled? Tomatoes, whatever. My overall point is, how can you objectively state that it was just categorically better? For every one of your examples that you can bring up to say that it's better now, I can find better now. I can find examples of things that guys did before that they're doing less of now as my example of why it was better before. So, just cut the crap. And the last thing that I'll say is this is a LeBron thing, in my opinion. I believe that this. I believe that this is a LeBron thing. Not that LeBron is doing this himself. Although I'm pretty sure if you sat him down in a room and asked him how he feels about this, he's loving this. He won't publicly admit it, but I believe that he's loving this. We done with the 90s crap. But this to me is a LeBron thing. This is a psyop. This is a psyop on behalf of the LeBron is the greatest player ever crowd to deflate the air out of the Michael Jordan is the greatest of all time ball by showing Michael Jordan miss layups and open jump shots.
Mm-hmm.
This is a LeBron thing. This is an effort to sort of, in a very clandestine way, continue to reinforce the idea that LeBron has surpassed Jordan as the greatest player ever. In my opinion, that's what I think this is about. I think this is a LeBron fan thing. I think that this is an effort being made by the LeBron acolytes, not just in mainstream media, but also on social media, fans alike, to make the case. That those are my thoughts on this. I think it's trash. NBA players today are airballing shots, missing open jump shots, airballing free throws, missing dunks. You got people like Ben Simmons making $150 million or whatever his ridiculous contract is, and he can't even get on the court because of his messed up back and his mental health. And he can't make free throws and he can't make jump shots. But I'm supposed to believe that the era of basketball today is categorically better, like factually, objectively is better. I call BS on that. I can cite many cases of players and teams and organizations today as evidence to why it's not better. Not that I believe that, but what I'm saying is I can employ the same strategy. So I don't like it. I think it's bogus. Leave Jordan alone. Listen, all y'all LeBron people out there, no matter what you listen, you can make a million TikToks. You can make a zillion TikToks showing Jordan missing shots and layups. And you can make a zillion more TikToks showing LeBron putting up his numbers and making threes and how his stats and analytics are better and all of this other stuff that you want to talk about, his triple doubles and his assists and his rebounds, whatever. You can do that a million times over. You're not going to convince people that he's better than Jordan who don't think that. You're engaging in an exercise in futility. People who think Jordan is the greatest ever are going to continue to think that. Enough with this. Just accept that this era is what it is. Leave the 90s in the past. Let the old heads talk about how the 90s were better. Let them have that. Because at the end of the day, who gives a shit? But if you want to use clips of people missing jumpers and layups as evidence as to why the old era is worse, then I can do the same thing. Because you got guys it's a 3-on-1 fast break, and instead of getting the guaranteed 2 points, the guaranteed layup, the guaranteed dunk, people are running a 3-man weave to the 3-point line, missing shots, rebound goes long, and now the other team gets a layup because you took an ill-advised, bad, poor percentage shot. Because today's NBA is everybody shoots threes against dunks. So not a fan of this stuff. We are not done with the 90s, at least not on this channel. And anyone who wants to suggest that we are, I think you need to sit down and pull up some clips of guys doing good stuff on the court, because there's a million more where those came from.
Yeah, and I think it's also, along with the shooting, I think it's also the dribbling too, and like dunks, and just how people are being athletic. It's not the fact that people are more athletic. The moves are different. It's kind of like whenever you see somebody in the 90s and they spike a football and and it's like, okay, like their bodies weren't built different. That's literally how they were trained to celebrate. Spike the ball. Woo. So somebody can do that, and I just did it. So it's not like people don't do that. It's just that now with things like individuality, swag, this and that, things have gotten smoother and less jagged how they were back then. Body movements, how do people handle things, how people dribble is a lot smoother than the janky way of the 80s. I see that. So they see all of these things coming together, drills with two hands, dribble, boom, boom, boom. You know what I'm saying? Hey, I get it. LeBron can finish with either hand going to the, I get it. I see all that. And so that whole part of their argument, that's all they see. And they think that's what makes them better. So they say, hey, you just throw Jalen Green, you throw Jalen Green in the 90s, and he's going to be Jordan. I heard people say throw Jalen Brown in the 90s. He's going to be Jordan 2.0. They can't, they wouldn't be able to stop him. And so my thing is that those are lazy, those are lazy arguments. And just like how we mentioned, man, the rule changes and stuff like that. Some of the dribbling that these guys doing now would be carrying back then, traveling back then. I saw some highlight clips of travels where they was giving, like, they was calling it on Jordan, calling it on Magic. And it's the stuff that we would call at the park, the good old days where you weren't allowed to shuffle your feet to gain an advantage. So with these guys now, I mean, they'll be traveling, they'll be doing all things. I can guarantee you this: if people want to run hypotheticals in their mind, run this hypothetical. So grab Jalen Brown, throw him in the 90s. Jalen Brown's going to have a very sharp learning curve with the rules, with the whatever. As soon as he starts flying through the air and doing all this other stuff, and they peep that, they're going to find a way to deal with that. By the way, when Dominique was flying through the air, he was looking like LeBron. That guy's a massive person. He was strong. So you throw Jalen Brown, he's going to learn quick that he's going to have to go to the hole tougher. He's going to learn quick that he can't be carrying a ball like that. He's going to learn quick he better be cutting. Then you take Jalen Brown after playing for 1 year in the 90s. Then you put him back in this era with all his fancy dribbling, all his other stuff, with that, except with a hard cut edge of being more aggressive, being more this, knowing how to finish at the basket, not being no little sucker like a lot of these people are being right now. He would be better after having some exposure to the 90s and then coming back. Same thing. You want to take Jordan and then throw him in this modern era, and then he see what they got going on. Give him 1 year. He's better than the rest of these clowns out here. And y'all know it's true. So for all these LeBronites, you grab your LeBron in that same scenario. You throw him in the 80s and 90s. I bet he comes back a lot more chiseled amongst his peers. He's going to learn real quick in the 80s and 90s. So there is a merit to that level of toughness. So you have to have some gall when you go to the paint. Not some James Harden goofy stuff. That's one guy that would definitely fail in the 90s. Do not get me started. So this to me, I agree with you. It's all a psyop. I could not believe how many videos were proliferating. I mean, I'm just trying to scroll and live my life, and it's we done with the. And so if you want to, if honestly, last thing I'll say, if I didn't have a strong father figure in my life, male role model in my life was a person, because I had my older brothers, my dad, people that I looked up to, that I played basketball with, telling me about history so I can appreciate and honor it. Sounds like Jamal Murray had that. And it sounds like a lot of these LeBronites, a lot of these people that's out here spewing this garbage didn't have somebody around them to put them on enough game when they were growing up so they can have an appreciation for their forefathers. So yeah, man, I can go on and on about this, but yeah, man, this one definitely was grinding my gears. I rarely explode on this program, but they got me today. Hey, man, we need a graphic for you, man, for the JV explodes, man. I've got to have something. Yeah, man, because they got me.
I don't like specious arguments. Like, they bother me. This idea that individualized skill is the reason why it's better. Individualized skill is the reason why the players are individually more skilled. But as you have lamented previously, that does not necessarily always translate to being an overall better basketball player, because there are certain intangibles that go into it. And there are also physical things that go into it too. Like, dedication and commitment to fitness, being in the weight room. And I mean, yeah, like, physicality is a factor. I don't think that that's something that can just be ignored. And a lot of physicality in today's NBA has been legislated out of the game. Now,
Yeah.
I don't choose. Now, if I want to, I can extrapolate that to other eras, and I can say, what if you take other players and put them in this era where there's less physicality? What do you think is going to happen? I choose not to do that, and I just let that era be that era and
Right.
this one be this one. But
Right.
what pisses me off is when you get people who say this era is better because of those things. Because if we're going to play that game, then I can say put Michael Jordan in this era with, you know, hyperbaric chambers and personalized masseuses and on the clock medical staffs paid for by the organization and private jets, 5-star accommodations and hotel rooms and suites and all of the other amenities that these guys get today that they didn't get before. And you tell me that it's not going to prolong the career and the primes of a lot of the premier players from previous generations.
Yep.
You give Michael Jordan specialized coaching and tell me what do you think is going to happen? You think he's still going to be a career? What was that number? 31% or whatever that number was. You think if Michael Jordan was developing as a player today, he would have the same career 3-point percentage? Of course not.
No.
And y'all know this, but y'all still choose to engage in these ridiculous hypotheticals by bringing up these stupid ass clips and throwing numbers in my face. So my whole thing is, if we want to play this game, fine, let's play that game. Otherwise, let's just let the errors be and call it a day. Because what you pansies need to understand is that how we evaluate a player in terms of all-time greatness goes far beyond their skill. It's a combination of several factors. Jordan, whether you like it or not, has the scoring titles, has the 5 MVPs, has the 6 finals MVPs, has the 6 for 6 in the finals, has the points that he scored. He has they took Jordan's numbers and they did like an examination of his numbers from an analytic standpoint on like PER and points per possession and all of this kind of stuff. And still to this day, Jordan ranks like 2 or 3 all time in terms of player efficiency rating. And that was when he played in the so-called worst era, according to these people. So if his PER is still like 1 or 2 ever, based on what he did in the 90s, what do you think it would be now? If it's the same man, take the same man in terms of his intangibles and his personality and his character and his work ethic. So take the same man and his physical measurables, so his height and his athleticism and all that. So you take that same person and give him the resources of today's player. You honestly think Jason Tatum's better than him?
That's what I'm getting at, bro.
Are you serious? Like you think these guys are better than him? You think Luka and LeBron and these people are going to be better than him? It's silly. It's silly. Like, to me, that is a laughable argument. It's a laughable conversation.
It is.
It's laughable. But that's what they'll do. Like these weirdo new human kids with these internet, like y'all getting these clips out and going on TikTok trying to be viral. Y'all know what y'all doing. Y'all just trying to put content to get people to come to your page so you can get more followers and all of that kind of stuff. You know damn well these are fallacious arguments, and the person with even the remote scintilla of a brain can tell and pick apart these arguments.
Yep.
Like, it's ridiculous. So yeah, I'm with you. I don't like any of this stuff. This stuff gets on my nerves, man. Hakeem Olajuwon has personally trained half of the league's post players in the game today.
Exactly, bro.
So y'all shitting on the 90s. These dudes taught a lot of these guys. You think if Hakeem was developing in today's game, he wouldn't be better than them? It's ridiculous. Like, come on, like seriously. Like, that's why I don't like doing this, because really there's no point. Like, it's an exercise in futility. But at the end of the day, if we want to play this game, we can do that. We can do the hypothetical all day. We can do the hypothetical stuff all day. We really could.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not buying it. Get out of here with that crap. It's BS. It's ridiculous. I'm not having it. I'm really not. You could take a guy like Vince Carter, Give Vince Carter the shooting coaches and the handle. Give whoever Curry works with for his drills, give Vince Carter that guy in his prime. Vince Carter's like a top 5 guy in the league at that point.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not trying to hear this. And to boot, if Vince Carter is open and he sees a driving lane, he's gonna go dunk it on you instead of doing a step back 3 and missing it.
Boy.
So get out of here with this. This is an example of when social media goes wrong. You know, like Chappelle on Chappelle's show used to have that skit when keeping it real goes wrong. This is an example of when social media goes wrong. You know, don't buy into it. Don't buy into this hype, people. Yeah,
it's like honestly, it's the most annoying people talking in the most annoying fashion, and it's just like, damn, bro, you must be a Drake fan. My bad. Hey, I ain't mean. Hey, my bad, y'all. I ain't mean. If you're a Drake fan, I ain't mean that.
They like Drake and LeBron. They Drake and LeBron fans. Drake and LeBron fans. That's who they are. They listen to Drake and their favorite and the greatest player ever is LeBron.
My bad, Drake fans.
It's silly, man. It's silly. Get out of here. Just get out of my face. Get out of my face, please. We are not done with the 90s, people. Don't believe the hype. Don't be the hype. Stories of the 90s demise are greatly exaggerated. Point blank, period.
Yeah, like and subscribe in the 2024.
Seriously.